Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture. Bring on the host, Sam, the queen of rock and roll dogs.
Welcome to the show, everyone. You are listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio, a rock and roll show all about pets, people, and pop culture. We're glad you're here today. We've got a great show lined up for you. And today I'm talking about an organization that helps pet parents when they find themselves in a tough position when their pets need emergency vet services. So stay right there. Welcome to the show, everyone. You made it. It's a lovely day in Las Vegas, and we are live from Sin City. And we're glad that you're here, aren't we, Jim?
We are very, very glad because we are on the radio.
We are on the radio. So, as usual, we always bring you fantastic guests on the show. People are doing remarkable things with animals. People who are leading in their field when it comes to animals. And today is no different. We've got a great guest coming on. But before we get started, I wasn't sure if I was going to talk about this because I didn't think, I don't know. I'm going to do this very, very, very short. But we normally have 3 co-hosts in the show. Well, actually, we have 4, including Jim. But he's kind of a given. And we usually have Galaxy, Thornton, and Mr. Twix. And we have only Galaxy. We have Thornton, and we have Mr. Twix. And Galaxy is in heaven. And I think that's all I can say right now.
That's all you need to say.
That's all I can say. So, let me get my act together. I had a feeling I wouldn't be able to do that either, so... Whew. Do you want to say something, Jim?
Well, we appreciate everyone's support. We had some rebroadcasts for the last couple of weeks, and we've been going through some pretty tough times. We know there's a lot of support out there for us, and we know Galaxy is watching over us and everybody right now.
Thank you. It's been phenomenal, the support that we've had, and I wasn't sure if I could do it, but I wanted to honor her with the first live show back. And so this show is for Galaxy. In fact, this show is because of Galaxy. Had we not brought her into our lives, we would never have changed our lives completely to help animals. And that's really how it all started. And we got her. And we decided we really want to help animals. And because of her, she left quite the legacy behind. She was the inspiration behind our clothing company, Vegas Rock Dog, for dogs and their humans. She was the inspiration behind all the events that we did to raise money for animals. She's the one that's behind the radio show and also our new TV show that we started. So there we go. Oof, that was hard. That was really hard. So let me tell you where you can find us on the internet. And that's why, in fact, for a lot of my friends that are listening, that's why they just haven't seen me on social media other than for our business, because I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. So this is kind of our first day back. If you do want to find more about us on the internet, because we're all over the place, you can go to, of course, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Tumblr, Instagram. You're going to find us there. Once in a while, we'll pop up on Periscope. our website, our main website is Vegas Rock Dog Radio, and that's where you can just go directly there to listen to the show, or you can listen to an archive show, or you can listen to our pet tip show, which we have on there also. What else have we got? We have a blog, and the blog is therockandrolldog.com, and this is where we do reviews and giveaways. We also tell you who's coming on the show, and then we'll put up an archive show on the website as well. We have an app. Believe it or not, we have an app, and it's called the Yapp app, yapp.us, and download the free app, and then download our show on top of that. Now, if you're one of those people, you're very busy, you can't always sit down at the same time and listen to a live show every week, then you can find us on iTunes, you can find us on iHeartRadio. It's probably one of the most popular apps that you'll find, and if you use other podcast apps, you'll find us on about 20 different platforms, and we're constantly adding ourselves to those to make it super easy for everyone to find us. I do have a tip of the week this week, and that is, as you know, maybe you don't know, there have been many, many pet food recalls in recent weeks, and we know from past experience. Remember the 2008 tainted meat, Jim? You remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Where people's pets died. People's pets died and were very, very sick. And so food recalls are very, very scary. And unless you see a recall, which most people will probably see it on social media, or a friend tells you, how else would you know about the recall? So here's my tip for you today, and it could literally save your pet's life. What you want to do is go over to the dogfoodadvisor.com, sign up for their email notifications on recalls, and you'll get that straight away. You'll be in the know immediately. Another great place is thetruthaboutpetfood.com. And the thetruthaboutpetfood.com came about because the founder, I can't remember her name, it's just gone up my brain, her pet was affected by that recall back in 2008. I think she did lose her pet, if I'm not wrong. And this is the one thing that spurred her on and inspired her to, really dig deep into pet food manufacturing and what was going on, and just unearthing a lot of that. So that's a very good website. Again, you can get email alerts because it could save your pet's life. So 2 websites, dogfoodadvisor.com and thetruthaboutpetfood.com also. But this is what I would encourage, and I've been saying this for the last few months. This is the year when people decide they want to feed their pets fresh food, and it doesn't always mean it has to be completely raw, because a lot of people are like, oh, freaking out about that. And if you do freak out about that, listen to my show by Kimberly Morris Gauthier from keepthetailwagging.com. And if you actually go to our website, you'll see that show up there. If you've got any questions, now Kimberly came from a position of one of her dogs constantly not being well, ear infections, and she just was like, I'm sick and tired of giving antibiotics. I've got to get to the root of this. So she started her own journey, and what she did was for anyone else that's not embarked on that journey, she went through all the obstacles. She figured out the most streamlined way of doing this, the most efficient way of doing it, the most cost effective way of doing it, while maximizing the health of her pets through fresh food. And so her website's great. It's called Keep the Tail Wagging. She gives you great practical advice, because there are those same questions we hear all the time. Oh my gosh, do I have to feed them bones? What if they choke on bones? So she grinds hers up. So there you go. Or she would say she preps for the whole week. She doesn't do it every day, so she preps for the whole week. Another one was, what was it? A common one. Will it be a lot more expensive? And she tells you where you can buy your foods from to make it not more expensive. But here's the thing. Let me tell you something. Your pets are worth that extra bit of money. And if it means you not having an expensive coffee or whatever, it's worth it. They're worth it. And so what I'll do is I'll actually put that show back up on our Facebook page, and I think you will answer a lot of questions for you. There was another thing I was going to say about pet food. What was it? Oh, yeah. So I do believe this is going to be the year when people start to hear about these recalls again and go, what's going on? This makes me nervous. I want to be able to know what I'm feeding my pet. And so the documentary is out, Pet Fooled. Don't be pet fooled. and that's the documentary by Cole Harrington. We had him on the show, and he uncovered a lot of stuff, and he puts the whole puzzle together. There are many pieces to the pet world industry, the commercial pet food industry. So you can go to Don't Be Pet Fooled. No, it's not Don't Be Pet Fooled. It's just petfooled.com, and watch it. It is so worth it. You'll learn a lot. And so fresh food, what should be on our list? And we are a partial raw diet at our house, and we are going to go full raw, which, to be honest with you, when I look at the cost of it, I think it will actually be a little bit cheaper, in all honesty. And I will certainly feel a lot better about what I'm feeding my pets. So I say we're partial raw right now, and they love it. Trust me, they love it. It's gross, but they love it. And they look great. I mean, Thornton, she's a Jack Russell, so the fur is not always super, super soft. It's kind of a bristly kind of fur. Her fur is so soft, it's crazy. We've had friends that have petted her and gone, oh my gosh, I didn't think her fur would be so soft. And we certainly attribute that to a fresh food diet. I mean, these monkeys are so spoiled, it's crazy. Well, let's start moving on to my next guest. As I said earlier, sometimes pet parents find themselves in a position where financial burden is not what they can take on when it comes to their pets. Veterinary care is not cheap. It is not cheap. And so what do you do? I mean, what do you do? There are plenty of organizations that help rescue pets, get their surgeries. But what do we do for the normal pet parent when you find yourself in this spot? So I want to welcome Jay Dachman of the Buddy Foundation of Maryland to the show. Are you there, Jay? Hello. Let's see. Don't you love technology? Are we good? Well, I guess I'll just keep talking because I can keep talking. So, it looks like we're connected. Are you there, Jay? Oh, I can hear Jay. Jay, can you hear me?
Hello?
Oh,
Hello?
hi, Jay.
Hello?
Can you hear me, Jay? Can you hear me, Jay?
Hello?
Can you hear me? Oh, we can hear you, Jay. Can you hear me? Oh, you know what? Jim's going to work on that. Not a problem at all. So like I said, there's a lot going on with food this year. I'm very happy to see that because why we wouldn't apply it to our pets as we do to ourselves? We know what junk food does to us. So we know what, not good food does to pets. Then we need to apply that to our pets as well.
I can't hear anybody.
Oh, do you want to turn that down just a little bit, Jim? Because I want to talk about a couple of movies that I watched this week about dogs. Excuse me. I watched, oh gosh, now I can't remember the names of them because they're always so similar. One of them was, it was on Netflix. Why can't I remember what it was called? But this particular was like a little documentary, and it was about how we connect with, or really how dogs connect with us. I learned a lot, and I know a lot about animals, but I learned a lot about animals yesterday. So one of the things that I found really, really, really interesting was they said, yawn in front of your pet and see what your pet does. So I yawn in front of Thornton and Mr. Twix, and next thing you know, they're yawning. I thought it's got to be a fluke. No way. So I did it again, and sure enough, they were yawning. And one of the things they were saying is, one, that's how bonded they are with us. I mean, these are ancient, relationships that we've had with dogs.
Hello?
And so, can you hear me, Jay?
Off.
Jay, are you there?
I just hit it.
We've got you now, Jay. Can you hear us on our end? Are we coming through your speakers on the FaceTime? Okay, we'll keep working on this.
Yeah, we'll keep on going. They were just demonstrating this deep, deep bond. These are the ancient relationships that we have with pets, and this deep, deep bond. So they said what pets do is they naturally mimic us. We tend to sometimes ignore it Or it might be a behavior similar to what we do, but we deem it a behavior that we don't want them to do, so we deter them from doing it. And one of the examples they said was, you might be digging in your garden, and next thing you know, your dog's digging next to you. And you're like, no, you don't need to be digging. Stop digging. So they demonstrated it further, where they, using some training, treat training, really simple, to do some really basic little tricks, with dogs, and getting them to mimic you. And then what they did, these one command the whole way through those tricks. So they didn't have special names for the tricks. They just said, do as I do. So they did 5 or 6 these tricks, do as I do. The dog does it for the treat. You think, oh, it's just a treat. But then they did another trick the dog had never seen, a movement they'd never seen, no treat, and just said, do as I do. And the guy turned around in a circle, and sure enough, that dog turned around in a circle. So I just was blown away by that. Because I always wondered, I've never tried to teach my dogs to dance or anything like that. And I often wonder, is it just the treat? Is it the positivity? Is it the fun aspect of it? But actually, this is something that comes quite natural to them. So I was really impressed by that. And it was a very good documentary where they talked about a place in Budapest. And I think it was called the Family Animal Research Center, I want to say. And what they were doing there was it's apparently the oldest research center in the world. And so they were researching about, connections between you and your pets. It was so interesting. I just couldn't believe how good it was, this documentary. Gosh, what was it called? Oh, let me see if I can find my Netflix, and I'll tell you about that, because I think you'd find it equally as interesting as I did. Where is Netflix? I've definitely, let me tell you something. As I say, we've been grieving, and I've been, basically a zombie for the last, almost 4 weeks. And so all I've done is watch Netflix. And trust me, after 2 weeks of Netflix, there's nothing really great on there. You've watched it all, and there's nothing really fabulous. But can't find it. But what I'll do is I'll find that link, and I'll put that up for you to watch. And they were talking about things like, do dogs, like they do research with rats and mice, in mazes, and they remember where the food is, but they never go back once they've eaten it because they remember it's been eaten. Dogs don't have, it's called spatial, memory, I think it was. Dogs are not that great at it, strangely enough. They're actually not that good at it. So, they demonstrated that and how they would go in this maze, and they'd find all the food, and then they'd keep going back where there was no food. They didn't remember there was no food. So that's not their strongest trait, but of course the nose is the strongest trait that they have. And so they're using dogs for, some snake program, some rare snake that was hard for researchers to just find them because they're very, very tiny. But they've trained these dogs to do it, and the dog can even smell them under the water. So really, really amazing. Just going a lot more in depth about dogs, about what they're great at, and also the connection that they have with us, and they do. I mean, since we lost Galaxy, my 2 little monkeys they've been on me, like they're trying to make me feel a lot better, and they do. But they've changed. Their relationship has changed. They've become really bonded. But they know, they hang on to you, and we've been given all kinds of advice when you're grieving, and trust me, none of it applies. So, you just have to just go through it. But one thing I will say is just, if you are grieving, just be yourself. Whatever it is you need to do that day is what you need to do that day. And if that means you're sobbing all over your dogs, because you're heartbroken, then it's okay. You have to honor their memory by just going through the process. Well, Jim, let's take a quick break, yeah? Let's take a quick break, and let's see if we can get Jay back on the line. You're listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio with me, Sam, your host.
Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture. Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
At Carl's Jr., not only do we make you happy with our delicious charbroiled burgers, but we also make your dogs happy. When you come through our drive-thru with your furry friend, we'll offer your dog a treat. If not, always ask for one. We love to see their smiling faces. Our website, carlsjr.lasvegas.com, has a treat for its customers too, with free coupons anytime, so be sure to visit us regularly. Carl's Jr. is a proud and active supporter of dog adoption in our community. You can find us at Carl's Jr. of Las Vegas or on Twitter at Carl's Jr. of Vegas.
Pet Scene Magazine is dedicated to Las Vegas pets and the people who love them. It's a source of news and information for pet lovers, as well as offering valuable coupons and specials on pet products and services. Find them online at www.lvpetscene.com or look for them on Facebook.
Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
Hi everyone, we're back. You're listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio with me, Sam, your host, the queen of rock and roll dogs, and we're still trying to get Jay on the line. So we're going to really try and make that happen. Jim, can you check that little bit of a echo and drop that down for me? Thank you. Lovely. Yeah, because you know how I am about the echo thing. You know, it gets on my nerves. So before the break, I was talking about this documentary on Netflix, and if you want to, what I liked about it was more about you understanding your dog, and not so much. They were saying, you know, dogs do a pretty good job of figuring out what the heck we want, but I think we sometimes think it's just their responsibility to figure out, you know, us. Whereas this documentary says you need to figure out how you communicate and make more effort to communicate with your pets. And another thing that they did was they said, you know, you can tell your dog what you want. So they did a thing with treats and two, what did they call them? Buckets, sand buckets that you have for the beach. And so they put a treat in one, no treat in the other. The lady just said that. She never said a word. She just pointed to the bucket that had the treat, and the dog went over and got the treat. Now, of course, you know, they've got great smell, so that's quite easy. But she was saying that they also respond to non-verbal communication. And so they were demonstrating this, you know, with a hand. And anyone that's disabled, that has a disabled dog, if they can't use their hands, they can use their head. They can do a nod, you know, over there, to the right, to the left, you know, move ahead. So they're picking up on all of our cues, not just these verbal cues. Really, really interesting. And so they did that was it. So they said, not only do they understand when we do a nonverbal cue, but they're actually giving us nonverbal cues as well, which we probably miss out on. So one of them was, can you hear us, Jay?
He can't hear us.
No. We'll definitely try and make this happen during the show. If not, we'll definitely have to reschedule and make this work. So so the nonverbal cues that they give us is, say for example, you'll have seen this, but you've not picked up on it. You'll just go, oh, they're just begging. But what they're really doing is telling you what they want. So you might have some food on a plate next to you, and they're looking at the plate, and then they're looking at you, and then they're looking at the plate, and they're looking at you. They're not just begging. They're saying, give me that. You know, they're giving you a proper nonverbal command.
They're commanding you.
Yeah, they are. And it's a true level of communication. You know, this very deliberate, look at the food, look at you, or look at the toy, look at you. This is what I want. Get me the toy off there. It's too high. I can't get it. Mr. Twix, he definitely, well, let me tell you something about Mr. Twix. If you don't give it to Mr. Twix, he will get it himself anyway. With those short little legs and his ability to jump straight on top of the dining room table, he takes things into his own, I'm saying, not hands, he takes things into his own paws. That's what he does, doesn't he, Jim? He takes things into his own paws.
He's a little investigator. Like, when you come home, it's like he goes to give you a kiss, not to give you a kiss, but to investigate what you've been eating.
Oh, that's exactly
He's like,
what he does.
come here, let me examine you.
does.
And I will give you an examination.
And he's not satisfied until he's the kind of dog, he's not satisfied until he's like licked your lips and figured it out. So he'll follow you around the house until he gets to do that, and that's a funny little trait of his.
Determined.
He is. Oh, I will tell you that. I've never seen a dog that he will not give up. This dog will not give up.
And he has a memory, so if he tries one way and it doesn't work, he will try another way.
Yeah, I caught him doing. We have a piece of furniture next to the dining room table, and there was something on the table he wanted, which is higher than this piece of furniture, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to climb all over this and knock everything off it." Then he had to figure out how he was going to get from the piece of furniture onto the table. And he was seriously contemplating jumping. And I thought, no, that's not, that's a bit too far. And so I'm watching him, and he does a little preparation like a gymnast. He does these little like bounces, like bounce, 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 jump.
Yeah.
And I thought, no.
He's back to his wild dog roots.
Yeah, I thought, no, this is not going to end very, very well. It'll be like one of those crazy YouTube videos where he jumps and, the cat jumps and misses the mark and you end up on the floor. So I had to prevent him from doing that. But he definitely has a drive, this dog. I wonder what he'd be good at. Maybe he'd be good at, I don't know, agility. Both of them probably at some kind of agility
Solving
courses.
a maze puzzle.
Oh, he'd be really good at that. And he has a good nose. He has a very, very good nose.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, this documentary was so good. I'm trying to think of the other things that they were talking about, or what I watched in the documentary. It was, oh my gosh, they talked about, as I say, them communicating with us communicating with them, their spatial memory, which they're not great on, but their exceptional noses. This was really, really interesting. Really interesting. So they said, and we always say it, I'd much rather be at home with my dogs, yeah? Well, guess what? They would much rather be at home with us too over other dogs. Can you believe that?
Really?
Yeah. So they've done this study, and I can't remember exactly how they did it, but they said that dogs really prefer our company over other dogs. So that kind of led into, how some people want to force their dog to be super sociable, go to the dog park and like every dog, and a lot of dogs don't really enjoy that. So I forgot what the test they actually did for that, but it's deep research that they're doing, because they did this same research on wolves, and wolves prefer wolves over people.
That's okay.
Yeah, they said the social, knit of dogs and wolves is different. So when you talk the social order, the hierarchy and stuff, it's not the same, simply because, dogs have been domesticated for a very, very, very long time, and they've been our companions for a very, very long time. So I thought that was really interesting. So I kind of feel better that they prefer to be with us than other dogs. And they were just saying, dog parks are, highly stressful for dogs if they're fairly small, and there's a lot of dogs. It's stressful for the owner too. It really is. And they led into a lot of body language in this documentary as well. And they were saying, you've got how interpreting dominance and submission may not be what you think it is. So they demonstrated two dogs. One dog on its back, you think, oh, it's being submissive, like, hey, you can be the boss of me, I'm okay, I'm not a threat. But then immediately after, the dog did a play bow. The play bow?
I mean,
like a downward dog.
Kneel on their front legs.
Yeah, they call it a play bow, which is like, oh, I want to have fun, I really want to have fun. So they were really playing around. Then the next thing you know, the dog that looked like it was submissive, that went into the play bow, then decided to mount the other dog. So they go, what is this? Is this a submissive dog? Is this a dominant dog? What is this? They say because the dog did a submissive thing followed by what looked like a submissive thing followed by a play bow means that, and even though the dog jumps on the other dog, mounts them, that this is just a super playful dog. And so I say it goes very, very deep into body language and what it really means. And the one thing I think they said at the very top of this documentary was, there are so many misnomers out there. There's so many myths that people are perpetuating, dominance, pack leader, all this stuff that people still keep repeating, and we keep hearing it too all the time. And it's not the case. It's really not the case. So I really, really enjoyed that documentary, and I'll probably watch it again. I was trying to take notes. In fact, I have notes. I have notes,
because I was whizzing through them. That would have been so much easier if I just, looked at the notes. How about that? There it is. It's called A Dog's Life. A Dog's Life on Netflix. So spatial memory they talked about. It's wolves have this spatial memory. They have it because in the wild, it is important for them to know where they hid their food and to remember where it is and to remember if they've already eaten the food, because it's not efficient to be going back and, going back and going, oh yeah, we ate that food. I forgot about that. So they said that's really, really important. And then they talked about that cognitive map, such as the layout of your house, where your pets kind of learn where everything is in the house as well. They say it's not that difficult for dogs to have a cognitive map of the house because it's actually the footprint's not very big, but it's very important for wolves for survival. Then what else? They talked about time, Jim. They talked about time with your pets.
I'm going to try Jay again.
Oh, are you? Oh, okay. They talked about time.
I think we have a phone and an iPad connected to the same account, and I think it might have been
trying to call your phone instead.
I don't know.
All right, we're going to try and figure it out.
Turn off the...
They talked about time. It seems that our dogs, we always say, without telling them the time, they come up and say, feed me now. And it's like clockwork. Or they anticipate, go to the window when someone's coming home from work. And they're saying they do understand time. They did a test. I didn't quite fully understand the test, but they did a 2-second test, a 2-second sound and an 8-second sound. And in the 2-second sound, the dog's supposed to go to this treat that's in the right-hand bucket. And then the 8-second sound, they go to the treat with the left-hand bucket. And they were doing that. So they understood the length of time. Very, very interesting as well. They said that dogs can count, not as in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They understand shapes as well. Oh, and TV was a really good one. This is something I learned too. Can they make sense of images? Are they really colorblind? And they're not colorblind, but they see more like, everybody says, they see in black and white. They actually see more of the red-green color blindness. And they were saying that the longer the skull, there's a streak that runs horizontally at the back of the eye, and that if they've got a long skull and it runs really long, this streak at the back of the eye, which is processing images, they said they have better long vision. And then vice versa for the shorter skulls, they have better close-up vision. And they're saying that they can see twice as far when an object is moving, like their prey. Is that not amazing? That's incredible, isn't it, Jim?
Yes, what does Thornton think about that?
I don't know. She's actually after a fly. That's her prey. She just saw a fly. Oh my gosh, they're going to lose their tiny minds in a minute in the studio because this one fly we cannot get out of the house. Look at it, it's massive. It's there, Thornty. Can you see it? She's going to jump up and down like a little maniac. So, TVs. What I didn't realize is, and I'm sure you know this, Jem, is the older TVs, there are less frames, picture frames that flash, yeah? So you get a flicker. Dogs get a flicker when they watch older TVs. So the image is flick, flick, flick.
Like when you take an old camera and you put an old camera to an old TV and you get the flicker, 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 flicker.
Well, you put,
like
exactly.
on home movies.
Yeah. And so the newer TVs obviously have a lot more frames. So it's a much smoother looking image. And so they respond better to that than the older TVs. Smell I was talking about was a big thing, and hearing, puppies deaf at birth, and dogs have 3 times more ear muscles than humans. But of course, this sensitivity can cause them problems, and we all know one of those is thunderstorms, loud noises. What's the other thing? Fireworks.
Wind in the car.
Wind. Oh, my dogs don't like the wind. They do not like the wind. So, of course, being super, super sensitive is what comes along with having this phenomenal hearing that they have. Thornton's going to lose her tiny mind in a minute. She can see the fly. She can't get the fly. She's so mad. So, and they say the social organization of dogs is not the same as wolves, and it just doesn't translate into dogs. They said it's just not the same. Pack leader, alpha dog, all misnomers. And they were saying, you know, about greetings, you know, how dogs greet each other. Sometimes they just don't like other dogs and accept that. And I think that's important because I think too many people are hung up on, my dog needs to love every dog it comes across. You know, my dog needs to go to the dog park and get on with everybody. And in all reality, humans aren't even that way. So why would we expect our dogs to be that way? It only creates more stress and discomfort for them. So you just accept your dogs just the way they are. And as I said, they did experiments to show that dogs prefer people to dogs, and wolves prefer wolves to people. And they just said over all, you know, this elongation relationship we have with dogs, that they're just finely tuned to relate to us. They really do relate to us. And so you should really try the yawn test. Jim was trying it yesterday, but he couldn't do a real yawn. It was a weird.
I can't fake a yawn.
It was a scary. It was a scary looking yawn, and the dogs were looking at him like, "What are you doing?" So they didn't really respond.
I've
to
never
that.
faked a yawn in my whole life. I don't think so. I don't know how to do it.
So the research place I was telling you about in Budapest, Hungary, it's called the Family Dog Project, and it's the world's oldest canine research center. And they, that's the fly. And they focus on communication between humans and dogs, how they learn nonverbal cues, how they can, you know, take a cue from your head, from your hands, and how dogs use their gaze to get us to do things for them. So get me that toy, look at the toy, look at you, look at the toy, look at you.
Dognosis.
So it is really. And I just give in anyway. I just let them have whatever they want. I don't really care. What else were they saying? I'm glad I put these notes together because I wasn't expecting to actually use them, to be honest with you. It was just interesting as I watched it. And another thing too, they did a test where they put a treat in a dog crate, but the opening was too small for the dog to get in the crate. So they were trying to figure out, walking around, how do I get in this? And then they had a little electric toy car thing, and they put the treat in the car. And they drove the treat into the crate. The dog sees this happen. Then it sees the little toy car reverse and come out. And then the dog was trying to communicate with the toy car to go and get the treat from the crate.
That's cool.
It's so cool. And this is what I'm going to try. Like I said,
Sounds like when Mr. Twix communicates with the clarinet.
Oh, because he loves what Jim calls the black stick of death.
He howls like a wolf when I play high notes on the clarinet. He just sits there and starts singing.
Yeah, he does. It's funny, but they're not a big fan of the flute either.
No.
Oh, and if you're listening for the first time, Jim's a musician, so there's a lot of noise that happens in our house. They're okay with the sax, but yeah, they don't like that. It must be just the tones and the pitch and those fabulous sensitive ears that they've got. I can't imagine what that sounds like to them when they've got such sensitive hearing. Another thing, and I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that test, about the do as I do. I'm going to try that. So I'm going to use their normal commands, and I'm going to just say, do as I do. And they're going to hopefully copy me. Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't that be fun if I could get Thornton to dance? Oh, she'd be so cute. She'd be so cute.
She'd be very good.
Jump was one of them that they did. Really simple. Standing in front of you and saying, do as I do, and jumping. And then watching the dog jump.
Well, you got Twix to do high fives when he was very young.
Yeah, and he does kisses. And you say kiss and he gives you a kiss. And he does...
High five, put your head down.
Yeah, he's really good on... and I do recommend this. I do a thing called touch. And this was to get him to not be fearful of people's hands. And so, treat in the hand. And I would put my hand in front of him. And the minute he touched it with his nose, he got a treat, lots of praise. And I would say touch. And so that really got him to understand that hands were okay. And that's a really useful one for anyone to teach their pets. You don't want them fearful of anyone, coming to them with their hands. Because people will, without asking. We all know how that goes. So sometimes people don't always ask. I mean, I always ask, can I pet your dog? Can I give your dog a treat? Because you never know. You never know what situation. They might say, my dog's not that sociable, or they don't like British ladies. They don't like Brits, so no. Then they were saying that dogs are deeply social, and
they're just fantastic at communication in every single way. They'll follow your example. So you jump, they jump, do as I do. And they're very good at mimicking. It's a natural thing that they do. But they said that dogs are very complex. You know, you always say people, oh, dog's so dumb. I'm like, nah, maybe it's you. Maybe you're the dumb one and not your dog. But they're very complex creatures. And I think we should make a bigger effort to understand them instead of thinking the responsibility is on them to understand us. You'll just have much better communication. And that's what else did I have? That was it. So that was a really good, really, really good documentary, A Dog's Life on Netflix. As I say, I think I've watched just about everything available on Netflix. And now I'm thoroughly bored of it to the point I said to Jim, I think I might just cancel it because I think I've watched everything available. Jim, with that said, let's take a quick break. I think we need a quick break, don't we?
You got it.
Yeah, you're listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio with me, Sam, your host, the Queen of Rock and Roll Dogs.
The Barking Dogs Self-Wash and Grooming, your one-stop shop for all of your pet's needs. We offer premium natural pet foods, full-service grooming, and an on-site bakery and boutique. You can choose to self-wash your dog or schedule a luxury pampering with our professional groomers. Our new Cool Cat section offers feline food, toys, bedding, and litter, while the adventurous dog department has everything you need for your outdoor activities. Cody's Healing Garden is a special place featuring flower, aromatherapy, and herbal remedies for pets. Ask us about Karma Connection, our program supporting animal rescue. Find us at barkingdogslv.com and look for us on Facebook and Twitter. We look forward to seeing you at Barking Dogs Self-Wash and Grooming.
Hello, this is Jim and Sam from Vegas Rock Dog.
We've been styling dogs and their humans since 2005. And no matter what size your dog is, we can give your best friend the bark and roll look that will make them stand out from the rest of the pack.
Vegas Rock Dog has a fantastic collection of tank tops, dresses, sweaters, jackets, collars, and ties for your dog.
And for you, the owner, there are rock and roll tanks and tees and great accessories. Wearing Vegas Rock Dog makes you look and feel like a rock star. And that's why everyone loves our gear, including Hollywood celebrities.
So grab your leash and go to vegasrockdog.com or find us on Twitter and Facebook at Vegas Rock Dog.
Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
And we're back, everyone. You're listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio with me, Sam, your host, the Queen of Rock and Roll Dogs. I saw this article, Jim. This was not an article. It was just really it was a pet peeve. And
what?
I have to agree about this pet peeve. And
A pet peeve, like a figurative pet peeve?
Yes.
Or a...
It was the Reisner Veterinary Behavior Services. And their Saturday pet peeve this morning on Facebook was adversarial and secretive boot camps for dogs. And here's the post. It says, I met two families in the last week who, without awareness of methods, enrolled their dogs in boot camp training facilities, where in each case, the dog was either taken to a different room, away from the owners, or boarded for several days each week without owner participation. In one case, the owner reported their dog was obviously fearful of the trainer on repeat visits. Trainer was in quotation marks there. Leaving a dog at a board and train facility is a decision that requires a great deal of research beforehand. There are no quality controls or professional guidelines for such services, and driving away without your dog implies consent for the trainers to do whatever they want to do. There are horror stories leading to prosecution of trainers for criminal behavior, but this is rare. I know of a case that happened here in Vegas to a friend of ours, and that's exactly what happened. And they came back with a very, very injured dog.
Wow.
Lost its eye. Oh, yeah. It is just as important to be wary of run-of-the-mill but force or shock-based doggy camp training services which haven't made it into the evening news. As a pet parent, and specifically a parent, she's a parent, as a parent of girls, I've drawn my share of eye rolls from any parents I didn't know when my kids were invited to play dates or sleepovers. I'd pick up the phone and ask, is there a gun in the house? Are there functioning smoke alarms on every floor? Will the kids be left alone with any adult male other than the father, including uncles, cousins, and neighbors? If there's a dog in the house, who will have access to the dogs? Has that dog ever, fill in the blank? Yes. And she said this one took a while when they were actually, calling. She said, was she being a neurotic parent? Probably, but I bite my thumb at anyone who would dismiss those concerns. We have to advocate for our animals and our children, and there is no one more invested than a parent, grandparent, or pet guardian owner. True, very true. It is also important to point out that good, effective, and fun board and training options are growing in number. Unfortunately, though, the good options are way outnumbered by the less than good. If you are thinking of board and train services, visit the facility without prior notice. So just show up, look around at the housing options and the attitudes of the dogs that are present. Most important, ask questions. Do you use shock collars, choke, pinch prong collars? Do you use leash corrections, physical force, alpha rolling, or other corrections? How do you respond when the dog doesn't do what you want? What is your understanding of dominance? Do you subscribe to the training principles of Cesar Millan? Oh, I'm so glad she posted this. And the bonus question is, do you have a webcam so that training can be observed? Now, first, I just don't think you should train without you being present. You're lessening the effectiveness if you're not there.
You have to learn as well.
You have to learn as well. Anyways, these places, you know what it is though, Jim? There are lots of people are very, it's convenient. Oh gosh, I don't have to go. I can just, drop my dog off and, it'll be done. Ta-da!
Well, like those high-end people, like the 1%ers will go
yes,
and buy a trained guard dog.
Yeah.
It's already been...
that they have no training with. They don't know how to handle, and that just makes no sense. And then they expect it to work, and then they're upset when it doesn't work. And they said, finally, ask for references from friends, behaviorists, and trainers whom you trust. Dog training boot camps can be irresistible, but can also be shady operations using outdated and abusive handling methods, including force, intimidation, choking, and shock. The bottom line is that your dog will be in someone else's hands behind closed doors. It is absolutely okay to be the annoying parent when the stakes are so high. I fully agree with this. Fully agree with this. One, you do need to be present because it's going to be more effective. Learn together and, improve your bond together. But yes, I just don't think it's a good option. And, those questions are very valid. They're very good questions, actually. And same with your kids, too. But, that's crazy. And also looking to trainers who are well qualified. There aren't that many that I know of in town that are highly qualified in force-free, positive reinforcement training. There are a lot of people running around doing, like I say, alpha rolls, flipping them on their side, domineering the dogs, yanking them and all manner of stuff. And if you see someone do that, they are not up with the current training at all. They need to run a mile. They need to actually go to school and really get trained up. I just wish that we had a lot more. I wish we had requirements, to be a trainer, specific professional requirements for you to go into that profession. I also think rescues need to also have some certifications too before they can open up their rescues. As I think with anything in life, you've got students of life who continually learn and want to learn, and it's wonderful. Then you have people that just, this is how they did it, and they've stuck with it for decades, yeah? And
then you have me, who the dog is training right now.
Yeah, she's training you to pet her and give her a massage.
Yeah, she's like up here going,
she's very good.
I don't care that you're doing a show right now.
And she did it all force-free.
Right
she did a force-free training on you, Jim, and you've just complied.
They were very good on our 4-mile walk this morning, by the way.
Oh, they did 4 miles this morning?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I usually gauge it by how many cyclists do they lunge by or how many other dog
Yeah,
walkers
you do. You give me a little report when they come back.
And I issue them, a couple little commands like walking through.
Yes.
Walking through.
Yeah, and it can be your own language, can't it, Jimmy? It doesn't have to be these set words, but as long as they work for you.
We passed a lot of people, a lot of runners, a lot of cyclists passed us today, and we didn't have a single lunger reaction today.
Really
so
good.
They were really good. They were focused on walking.
These two, they did nearly 6 miles the other day, yeah?
6 the other day. Today we did about 4.
And they came back and wanted to go all over again. Now Thornton's going to be 11 soon.
Yeah.
And Twix is what?
3.5.
3.5. So, I mean, they keep up. They're exactly the same energy level. They're crazy, these two. But that's very good.
They love walking.
They
The best-
do.
Walking,
Is their life.
walking, eating, and resting.
Is
There couldn't be three better things to do.
Like we say, eat, sleep, bark, repeat. What was I going to say about them? Kind of went right off my trail of thought there. Oh, yeah. So back to, I do think that if you're going to open a rescue where you're handling animals, that I do think there should be some requirements that people do, you know, like being a hairdresser. You've got to be qualified to be a hairdresser, and you have to have, like here in Vegas, you have to have a TAM card to serve alcohol. You have to have a health card. And I just think we need some of these things in place prior to anything that involves animal welfare. I just think it's really important. And there's nothing wrong with having a lot of education and being able to keep, having to keep current on that. That's, for me, is key, because there's a lot of research happening now and a lot of new things coming up, and we're, getting rid of some of these myths, and people need to know what's new and current and science-based and what works. And I really would like to see that in rescues. I work a lot with rescues. I would like to see qualified dog trainers on board. I would like to see them have great knowledge of nutrition. I think that's a very important thing. Understanding body language is an important thing. But I tell you what, this week I kind of on that level a little bit. I went to the Anthem Pet Club presentation this week, and what they were doing were handing out donation checks to a variety of organizations. Now, as you know, I'm on the board of Rockin' for Rescues, and we were chosen, and we were just absolutely thrilled. So I went up there to represent and got to see tons of my friends who own rescues themselves, who were receiving checks also. Everybody was really, really happy and so grateful. And I sat with my lovely friend Regina. She owns the Southern Nevada Beagle Rescue. Not just beagles, but she says beetles and littles. And we were talking about, I asked her, what do you put in your welcome package, for new pet parents that adopt? And it was such a great package, but it covered a lot of things. So it wasn't just, a lot of them will give out coupons, to get a little discount on food, and sometimes there's a free groom in there. But she was covering a lot of things. She had some fun stuff. She had a photography thing in there, which, of course, who doesn't want to take tons of pictures of the pets? But she also had some really good information in that package to really help a new pet parent, because sometimes you don't know what you don't know, especially if you've never had a pet before. And I really, really loved what she was telling me, a very comprehensive package. And it's a great way also for other businesses to give back, get involved, to offer these rescues, either discounted services or free services or sample products, or just information. And so I was really, really impressed with that. But I would love to see, and she's one of those people who's constantly up to date with what's going on when it comes to animals and animal welfare. And but not everybody's like that. So I think it's time. I think it's time. Don't you, Jim?
I agree.
Yeah.
What? It just went out of my head.
Oh,
I forgot what
we're both having one of those. Well, our brains have been fried for a few weeks now, but it's no different today. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and get Jay back for another show. And I say Jay is the founder of the Buddy Foundation of Maryland, and what they do is they help pet parents who find themselves in a financial, quandary as to, we don't have money, but does that mean then I have to put my pet down? And it's a terrible position to be in, because no one wants to be in that position, but where do you go for resources? So what you actually can do is, the link I will post up on Facebook, so at least you can get connected with the actual foundation itself, and then we'll try and get Jay back on for another interview, because it's going to be very valuable for people to know about this great organization and the inspiration behind the organization, which was Buddy, his dog. So any more news, Jim, you want to cover?
No, I don't have anything, but I was going to let you know that we're getting up near the hour, so we're
Oh yeah, we're close.
We've about filled the whole hour.
Yeah, we have. We're close.
Improvised the show.
I can always talk, 'cause I'm always reading something, watching something, learning something every week. As I say, this show is dedicated to what we called our best girl. Her name was Galaxy, and if it wasn't for her, we but we wouldn't have helped all the animals that we've helped. We wouldn't have. She completely made us take a different turn at the fork in the road, didn't she, Jim?
Yep.
And we changed. I completely changed my career entirely to be involved with animals. So an amazing legacy. We will do an entire show on her when we're ready, because it's quite hard to speak about it. And anything else you want to say, Jim?
No, we're just glad that all the support we've received, and glad for everybody's patience the last couple of weeks.
Here's my best advice. If you're reaching out to someone who's lost a pet, don't give them advice. Don't tell them what to do, what not to do, because it actually doesn't help. But just saying, we're here for you, we care about you. They've been the best, messages that we've got. We know there's no words that are going to change how you feel, but you just know that we love you, we care about you. And I think that's really, really important. Don't ask people how old their dogs were, because it never justifies them passing away. It's like saying, well, how old was your grandma? Oh, well, they were old. No, you want them to live and they want to live. And so I think that's important. But just remember this. You'll never feel that you have enough time with them. So really make the most of your time with them when they're here. I mean, really, really enjoy and cherish every single moment. Take so many photographs. Have some special times together where it's just you and your dog. Go and have a coffee, or you throw them a birthday party. But it will always feel like you never have enough time. So really maximize the time you have with them, because you'll be able to, and we're not quite there yet, but I'm sure we will look back on our memories and we'll smile. So, well, Jim, I think we're at the end of the show.
That's it.
Let me, one more thing I want to say at the very end. Anything else you want to say?
No, I think you've said everything we need to say.
Yeah, this was a tough show today. But remember, you can always help an animal in need. Either rescue, adopt, donate, volunteer, or share their information. Rescue your next family member. I highly recommend it. And replace the word shop with adopt. And always be kind to all animals, not just dogs and cats, all animals. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Thornton and Twix. And a big kiss to our girl Galaxy. You have been listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio, where it's all about pets, people, and pop culture. And I am your host, Sam, the queen of rock and roll dogs. And always, always kiss your pets. Good morning and good night. I'll see you next time.
You've been listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio.